Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. I can't believe it. I actually have people waiting. It's amazing. Microphone's working. Check. Okay, so we're going to try this again after yesterday's or last night's technical issues. So fingers crossed. How's everyone doing? Hope you guys had a good weekend. I won't waste too much time, but I do want to give some people a couple minutes to get here. Lazy Sunday, hard eyes. That's always nice. Seems most are out enjoying the weather. Not here. It's hotter than shit here. Actually, it's actually really not that hot. If you're used to it, but if you're not, then it's extremely hot. Yeah, I'm a night owl as well. But you know that. Hey, Capri. Hey, Dicky Dicks. Netherlands. Wow. But yeah, I think it's let me check. It's probably like 107 here today. Well, I lied. It's only 102. High of 104. I think I have everyone beat so far. I usually do. Well, not me, but Arizona. And hopefully Round and Round will be here because hopefully they can explain it as far as Nate's whole setup goes. $69 where you're at, Capri? Wow, must be nice. Must be nice. And it's also raining, I think, pretty much everywhere except for here. So that's a little depressing. Oh, great. Here come the chickens. We gotta be quiet. It's gonna be an ASMR extreme again. Because if they hear me, it's not gonna be good. Capri, do you change your thumbnail pic like every day? It's like every time I'm like, is that? Yeah, that's Capri. What am I saying? What do you mean? What am I saying? What are you saying? Okay, well, you snooze, you lose if you're late, right? I'm just kidding. Okay, so I can either, I don't know if I want to play the comparison video I made again. I mean, I know if you guys are here the last 2 times that you have seen it already, but I did set the one last night. I think I even set both of the last 2 live streams that I attempted to do this to private. So we should probably do it again, I think. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. And I am actually prepared. Do you believe that? Well, we'll see. And hopefully my microphone doesn't go out. Okay, share screen. Okay, so let's play it again. Just kidding. I forgot to click the share audio option. Take 2. Okay, so as I mentioned yesterday, I did my best to match up the 2 teasers. And I decided to do it at this part where the fetus, kind of zooms in for a second. But it was difficult because it appears as though the one on Nate's as soon as you get to the hourglass, it seems to slow down. And this one is the original teaser on the right is obviously, at the same speed. Well, not obviously, but that's what it appears as though. But not only that, if we scroll a little bit more, you'll notice on Nate's teaser, it immediately goes to the woman wearing the gas mask. Already zoomed in. Okay. Now watch the official teaser on the right. See how far the camera is, how zoomed out it is, and then it zooms in to the gas mask, the woman wearing the gas mask. So why is it that Nate's the woman in the shallow grave with the gas mask. Again, already zoomed in, way far away. And then, of course, it goes on longer because Nate's TV switches to his camera. So that teaser is, I believe, let me double check. We're going to go over that in a second, but I just want to, I think it's a minute long, but. One minute and 1 second long. Volume, you should be able to hear me, can't you? I can hear me. I know, did it mess up for you too, the chat? I had to do it. I had to do that as well. Hey, Orbital. So we're going to go over that, Heart Eyes, as far as why they don't match up, in my opinion. And to, hear your guys' opinions as well. So just to go over this, I know I went over it yesterday, but to go over it again. Now, right here, this screenshot on Nate's TV is actually a motion clip. The reason why I say it's a motion clip, hey Spacebound, hey darling. The reason why I say it's a motion clip is because if it were recording or if it was live footage, it would have that record icon in the bottom left-hand corner with a little record circle. And it would say camera right above that. So he's already in his camera settings here, right? Then you see him press his remote, I think not once, but twice. I don't know if it didn't work the first time when he pressed it. Let's go back. Okay, there, he's right there. He presses it. And it takes his TV to this. Bandit Patrol it looks like season 2, episode 1. Mission Impossible. I don't know. It must be, like I said, a possum thing. But like I said, Round and Round has an interesting find as far as the National Geographic Wild show coming up on Nate's TV. So, like I said, hopefully they can make it. Okay, so channel 729. And it looks like down here, he was already, I know it's hard to see because of the play bar, but looks like they've already watched some of it and paused it. I'm not sure. But let's continue. So now you see Nate speak into his remote, because that's the option you have when you have Xfinity Home. You can talk into your remote and control your television settings that way. So he says, my camera. Then it says listening. Then after the Nat Geo show comes up, then you have the American Horror Story. And I'm a little confused by that, as I said in my last live, because why would the American Horror Story that airs on FX network show up on or be promoted on the National Geographic channel? Again, they could be owned by the same company, both channels, but two completely different types of show. Okay, so now here, after Nate speaks into his remote and says, my camera, then it loads his camera again. Now, Chris is kind of in the way here. And I don't know how to make this play bar go away on here. Kind of difficult to see, but you can see right here it says camera, and then it has a little circle, and then it says REC for record. So this means that the screenshot here, Nate's video camera is recording right now, which is why I also have said for a while now that Nate's camera is not just only motion activated like a lot of people think. It actually records 24/7, meaning 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And all that footage is stored into the cloud for up to 7 days. And another reason why I say that it's 24/7 is because regardless of what Nate says, these motion clips of his are way longer than 30 seconds. They're actually well over a minute, almost 2 minutes long. Okay, and then it ends. Then here it pulls up his motion clips. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about these teasers that FX releases before the season premiere of American Horror Story. Okay, this is the website froze on me last so hopefully it'll do it again. Okay, we'll just do this one. Okay, so I said FX prior, a month or so prior to the season premiere of each season, FX releases these short clips about the upcoming season called Teasers. Then you'll have closer towards the premiere, you'll have something called the official trailer, kind of like a movie trailer, which is longer than the teasers. So these are all of the teasers for season 8 Apocalypse. So you have the Hourglass, which is the one that appears on TV. Now the Hourglass teaser was the first official teaser, so it's longer than the rest of them. So earlier I said it was about a minute long. After the first initial teaser that they release, they will release these short ones around 20 seconds long up to the season premiere. Hey, Ara. Here's your extended trailer. And then I think this is the, I forget what they call it, but it's the, we'll find out. Now, if you go to YouTube, there's a list posted by the FX network. Hey, Callie. Now, I'm not going to play them because I don't want to get copyright violations. So I just want to show you the dates are what is important. Okay, so the official teaser for Season 8 Apocalypse was released on August 6th, 2018. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but even if I wanted to play the videos, they wouldn't play because my internet is terrible. Oh, I could have just gone here. Yeah, August 2018. So while that's loading, if it even loads, oh yeah. Now the next teaser. No, the sound's gone. You can't hear Kelly. Well, I can hear me. So try. Well, I was gonna say try leaving and coming back in, but if you can't hear me, then that's not gonna help you. Okay, good. I'm glad. Okay, now the next teaser titled "Don't Play, Don't Play." I'm like, don't play. Wait, that's not it. Wrong one. Sorry.
It's over.
Okay, the next one is titled Handout, and that was released on August 8th, 2018. And is also only, oh, it's only 10 seconds long. So see how this one is a minute long? This one's 11 seconds. The next one's going to be 21 seconds. And I swear there's a reason for my badness. I will get there, I promise. It just takes a long time. Like I said, my internet is really stupid. No, don't play. When I want it to play, it doesn't, and then when I don't want it to play, it does. Stop. Okay. Okay, so this one is called Fig. It is 20 seconds long, and it was released on August 10th. So so far, they've released it every 2 days, a new one. Like, I could have just wrote these dates down and told you guys, but like, you know, it's just, I think it's better to have visual instead of me just saying it. Okay, the next teaser is titled Radioactive Mist. It was released on August 16th. So there was no teaser that was released on August 13th. Now, as I know, when they release these teasers, they don't play them over again. They just play them that day until the next one comes out. So if you have the one that was released on the 6th, the one that appears on 8's TV, then you have the one on the 8th, the 10th, and now we have the 16th. And then the next one is titled Lights Out. It is 15 seconds long, and it was released on August. So my point, and I can go through the rest of them if you guys want, but my point is that that show on Nate's that came, you know, the Apocalypse teaser had to been recorded. So that couldn't have been like live TV footage. Now, you could say, Megan, well, what's the big deal? He recorded the show, or that, you know, that particular trailer teaser on August 6th, and he just so happened to be watching it on whatever, you know. That part's not the conspiratorial part. The part that's conspiratorial is the fact that not only does that teaser practically mirror the Watts narrative, but then you have all of the predictive programming and all of the connections that there's no way are coincidental. The amount of connections is overwhelming. If you guys have been following me for a while and you've seen my American Horror Story connection videos, then you hopefully would agree with me. But the fact that it didn't just appear like live, like it was like he switched to his cable and it was live television, makes it even less a coincidence and not some sort of miracle, not some sort of sign. So what are the odds that Nate just happened to be watching this show, or this, you know, where this trailer commercial comes on for American Horror Story, that again mirrors the Watts narrative within what, like 10 seconds, 15 seconds? And regardless if anyone believes or not believes, but agrees with my theory or whatever theory, the predictive programming in American Horror Story, in my opinion, proves that someone at least had foreknowledge that this event was going to happen. And I mean, that should infuriate anybody, in my opinion. There is no way that trailer or teaser coming on Nate's television was coincidental. So now we need to find out why it why was Nate watching that? How did it come on? And that's the thing is, Nate was, like I said earlier, Nate was already in his camera settings. So why did he close out of the camera settings, go to his show that he was previously watching, and then go back to his camera settings? And not only that, but then, there's also on his motion clips for August 13th, the only 2 clips that he has from that day are Nicole Atkinson allegedly dropping Shan off at 1:48, and then Chris backing his truck into the driveway and allegedly loading the bodies of his family into his truck. How is that possible? Where is the, as I mentioned before, and it might sound repetitive, but it's important. Like these are the things we need to figure out why, and should be asking questions. Where is all the footage, the rest of the footage from the 13th? There were several people going in and out of the Watts home, several people going in and out of Nate's home. You have Nicole Atkinson and Nicholas Atkinson, who claimed that they pulled into the driveway and Nicholas stood on top of Nicole's car to look into the garage to see if the Lexus was in there and if the car seats were in there. So if Nate's camera picks up Chris's truck backing into the driveway, then why didn't it pick up, if that's really true, not saying that they're lying, not making any accusations, but why does it seem like Nate's camera only picked up what fits the narrative? So where's the footage of that scene on Officer Coonrod's body cam footage when Chris pulls up and, he's all skippy to Coonrod and shakes his hand when he first gets there, when they're all standing in the driveway right in front of the garage? Where's that footage? Where's that motion clip? Where, again, is when Nicole pulled into the driveway? Where's the motion clip when Coonrod walked around the house before Chris got there and knocked on the windows on the side of the house when he went through the gate? Where's the footage of Nicole Atkinson walking up to the door to open the front door, but the latch was on? Where's the Vivint footage of Nicole Atkinson walking up to the door? Where's the Vivint footage of Coonrod walking up to the door? Why did we only get Shanann? And not only that, but we didn't even get it until months and months later. That footage should have been released with the original discovery in November. Exactly, Capri. If it was redacted, why? Did they think it wasn't relevant? And not only that, but it clearly shows on Nate's TV that there's no other motion clip. So either Nate deleted them, and if he did, then we need to figure out why. And when did he have time to go in there and delete it, when he was all being nosy Nate, right? Over there trying to play the hero and talking to Coonrod and talking to Nicole Atkinson, talking to Nicholas Atkinson. So they wouldn't be able to redact those motion clips from the body cam footage. So the only way that they would be able to disappear, like I said, is if Nate deleted them. Why are there so many inconsistencies with Nate's footage, and not only that, but with all of the footage in this case? It's so convenient how none of the security footage worked, or there wasn't any security cameras at all, or they were malfunctioning, or there was a ton of wasps on the neighbor's house. How convenient that it didn't catch anything. How convenient that Survey 319 didn't have any security cameras. How convenient that the McDonald's footage and the Home Depot footage, or whatever, I don't know about the Home Depot footage, but the McDonald's footage, only the inside worked, not the outside. And it's just like, and law enforcement didn't even bother to get the CCTV street footage from the highways. And if anybody has doubts about my theory, I would love for someone to explain to me why my theory doesn't make sense, how it seems so ridiculous and so crazy. They tell me that all the time, but they don't tell me why. And why is it that there's so many connections to the story? You think it's a coincidence that just happened to show up on ACV? And it clearly was not live feed or like live television show. It was pre-recorded. That would be so easy to pull that off. That's what they want. They wanted us to see that. One, it promoted the show. It got me to go and watch it, right? So who knows how many other people went and watched that American Horror Story show. Not only did I watch Apocalypse, but I watched the entire thing. And come to find out, I can go over I'll just go over the connections because there's so many to go over again. But I'll go over the ones that there's no way that it's coincidental, like the Scottsdale one. Because that is the most ridiculous one. Probably it's in the top, at least, of ridiculous connections. There's this, it's just so stupid that they even threw that in there. I just can't believe that they did that. And I wish I could play the clip for you, but I can't. If we were on DLive, I could. Yeah, and I still don't get the whole diabetic thing, Capri, because as far as we know, she's not diabetic. And I still don't know if Shanann was or was not, it's not called, I was corrected. It's not called double jointed. It's hyperextension something. Because there's that video where her finger bends back, and I tell you what, that's some voodoo stuff going on there. But I've never, Shanann always in her videos talked about all her ailments and her illnesses. I don't remember her ever mentioning that she had hyperextension. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know what the medical term is, but hey, Heather. So either Nate's camera is really, really crappy because he clearly said that he picks up Chris coming down the street. He picks up people going this way and that way. Every time that Chris leaves the house, it goes back in. So again, it's how convenient is it that we didn't get Shanann walking, being dropped off. We didn't get any of the people outside the house. I mean, there's just so much missing in this case. And there's, again, they can't use that excuse or anyone can't use that excuse that they redacted it because we can clearly see that there's no other motion clips on Nate's camera. And not only that, but Nate also admits that those are the only two from that day. The two that just so happened to fit their narrative perfectly. Like it's no accident and it's no coincidence that Survey 319 just so happened to be an old well that was about to be dried up. What a great way to destroy evidence by telling the public in their narrative that Survey 319 was an old well, and that one didn't have cameras, and that's why it was an old well. How convenient. You also have a oil company who's complicit in the entire thing, and obviously, in my opinion, part of the orchestration, where this guy, Chris Watts, can take the bodies of his family, allegedly, right? And you wouldn't have, if he had a company that wasn't complicit in the entire thing, do you really think that Chris is going to take the bodies of his family to his place of work? Remember, we've been led to believe that he's got a 135, 140 IQ, and he's Rain Man. Sorry, but no Rain Man is going to take their, bodies of their family that they just murdered to their place of work. And not only that, but a big oil company with powerful people. But again, when the oil company is part of it and complicit, then how convenient. Then you can stage an entire crime scene compared to if it was real life. Take a picture of a couple firemen and put a caption underneath and say, hazmat crew removing the bodies of Watt's two daughters, Bella and Cece, from oil tanks. How easy, how it's just one simple picture, you guys. This is what I'm trying to say. And I know I'm not good at explaining things, but it's amazing how one simple picture and one little caption or one little article can literally fool so many people. And I get it. Why would anybody question it in the first place? They wouldn't. And that's the thing. They see the picture, they see the caption that the mainstream media puts, and they just 100% believe it. But if you think about it, showing a picture of a couple firemen and a hazmat crew does not prove anything. It doesn't. We don't see anything we don't see any bodies being pulled out. We don't see, and I get it, it would be graphic, but that's not the point. The point is that how do we know? How do we know that's what's really going on in that picture when it's just a picture? Hey, Stephanie. Hey, Kyla. Exactly, Stephanie. Why is Chris Watts' channel still up? Because they want people to search for the case, look it up, look up Chris, find his YouTube channel, watch his stupid communications speech for his communication class, where that, just like the American Horror Story teaser, just so happens to fit the narrative practically to a T. But again, back to the picture. How do we know that's what's really going on in that picture? Are we supposed to believe it just because mainstream media or law enforcement told us that? Am I a bad person with no heart because I'm questioning a picture? I'm sorry, but I'm not going to believe anything unless I see it for myself. And even then, I can't promise that I'm going to believe it, even if I see it. But just because someone I could take a picture of a white 4Runner that looks exactly like Nicole Kessinger's today, right? And say breaking news, post it tomorrow, or do a live stream and say, hey, look, everyone, Nicole Kessinger's in Arizona right now. Isn't that crazy? I don't know if everyone would believe me, but I know that there's several channel creators out there that a lot of people do believe every single thing that they are told by that channel creator, and it boggles my mind. But just because I found a picture or took a picture of a white forerunner that looks exactly like Nicole Kessinger's, does that mean that she's really in freaking Arizona? No, it doesn't. It just means that I'm a liar and a shitty person for trying to trick everybody. Like, people don't think critically anymore. They don't think, not everyone, but a lot of people don't think critically or logically. Yeah, of course it would be great to just look at a picture and say, oh, okay, yeah, that's what's happening. That's what's going on. I mean, yes, do pictures say 1,000 words or whatever that saying is? Can you guys hear me? Okay, yeah, mic's messing up again. Dang it. Okay. Um, so this one was released on August 21st. The next one is released on August 23rd. I know my mic's out. Hey, Chica. August 7th. This one's a little bit longer, 30 seconds long. Hey, Irvin. Good to see you. Yeah, me too. Thanks for being here, everyone. But that's, back to the picture thing. That's just one of their little tricks. A little, I guess, a big trick. It's a little trick, but a big trick. Of how they are able to fool so many people by just one simple picture. That's how crazy it is. And that's just one, little piece of the narrative. They know that the majority of people will never once question it and go, how do I know that the girls are really being pulled out of the tanks? A lot of people wouldn't and don't. But in my opinion, I think people should. I don't care who tells you what. I don't care if it's the mainstream media. I don't care if it's the government. I don't care if it's law enforcement. Just because you're shown a picture or you're told something in a 1900 page plus discovery file, it doesn't make it true. Just because you see body cam footage, it doesn't make it real. It doesn't matter if they're, so-called higher authority, which they're not. They're just people like you and me. And yeah, Irvin, the tank opening, those hatches, we're talking 8 inches. If you get bored one day, go get a measuring tape and find, an object or objects that are 8 inches in diameter. And if you have a 3 or 4-year-old, stand them next to it and compare it. It's like, plus it's like fitting a square block in a, what is that saying? In a whatever, round peg in a square. I don't know. Anyways, let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he was able to fit them through an 8-inch hole. Actually, it's not even 8 inch. It's even smaller than that because there's a tiny lip on the inside. And regardless if it's, okay, Chica, regardless if it's just millimeters, that you would need, as all the space that you could get to fit them in there. And in the autopsy report, it's telling us that Bella only had, or Bella or Cece, I can't remember which one, only had an abrasion on her hip. I mean, square peg in a round hole. Thank you, baked cake. There would be way more injuries, in my opinion. I'm not a medical doctor, and I've never tried to fit anybody into a small, tiny hole. But the fact that they're saying that they only had like one scrape on their hip is crazy to me. Are you serious? Swamp over, you fell asleep? No, I'm not going to start over. I have trouble getting through these the first time, let alone twice. I'm trying to think of, there's several examples of their little tricks that they use to fool the masses. I mean, don't even get me started on the Chris lifting Shanann into the truck and the whole dead weight thing, because anyone that tries to argue with me on that is going to lose, I promise you. Because I don't care how much you lift, I don't care how strong you are, it is very, very difficult to lift dead weight. Not only lift it, but to lift it multiple times and carry that dead weight multiple distances, up, down, in the truck, down the stairs. And for Chris to show up at the house, just like, hey, Officer Run, how's it going? Nice to meet you, buddy. Not a drip of sweat on him. I don't care if he changed his clothes or not. Looked like the guy had 8 hours of sleep the night before. I mean, give me a break. Carrying him up the stairs, digging a hole. Even if he dug the hole the previous day, that man would be exhausted. And that's if he could even accomplish that. And then the narrative, and from what Chris says, but we know he's a pathological liar, whether he's a real pathological liar or just a shitty actor pathological liar, I don't know. But either way, he's a liar. But he claims, and the narrative claims, that he had carpal tunnel. He also complained that Shanann was too heavy to carry in the sheet, and he dropped her down when he was carrying her down the stairs. And not only that, but the sheet would also make it like 10 times more difficult to lift Shanann into the truck. Now, obviously, he didn't do the whole like fireman carry thing, because we would have seen Shanann over his shoulder when he's walking into the truck. But that's not what we are told we're seeing, right? We see Chris dragging her, walking backwards. If I would believe it if Shanann was over his shoulder, because he already has that weight lifted up. It's already to that level of the truck. Or, let's say if she was in the bed, you already have her elevated on the bed. So you wouldn't need to use that full strength to bend down and pick them up from the ground. You see what I'm saying? So, hey, Antoine. But again, we don't see that. So he would have had to drag her from the house through the garage, across the cement of the driveway. And the autopsy states that Shanann did not have any exterior injuries to her body, besides, of course, the strangulation, the bruises on her neck. How would she not have any pre or post bruising, or whatever the technical term is for it? I knew it at one point, but hey, Tiger Girl. And then, so, picking her up, dropping her, what he claims he dropped her on the stairs, if we're supposed to believe it, as far as that goes. Where's her bruising on that? Where's the drag marks on her body and bruises from dragging her, lifting her into the truck, out of the truck? I can't imagine that he was graceful or careful with her. If he, let's giving him the benefit of the doubt, going with the official narrative, if he pulled her out of the truck, I highly doubt that he just, he just murdered her, right? I doubt he's going to be nice about it. So how are they going to say on the autopsy report that Shanann had no exterior bruising? It doesn't even say in the autopsy report that the girls had their adenoids removed. Why would law enforcement tell the coroner about Shanann's neck surgery? Doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose of having a coroner or a pathologist? Isn't it their job to find that and notice that she had neck surgery? Hey, mic dropping. But the dead weight thing is just, in my opinion, ridiculous. Again, because it doesn't matter how strong you are. It doesn't matter how, and I made a video about it, that it, explains how difficult it really is. It doesn't matter how much adrenaline you have. It's called an adrenaline rush for a reason. So example, like when people talk about someone being pinned underneath a vehicle, and you see 6, 7, 8 people go to the car and lift it up to pull that person out that's pinned under the car. We're talking about a couple of seconds, if that. It's like, up, pull it out, down. That's your adrenaline rush. It's not like lifting it up for, a minute and a half, and then putting it down, and then doing it again, putting it down, doing it again. No, that's insane. And that's what Chris would have had to have done. Hey, Bobby. Yeah, you would think so, Mike. And I don't want to say Mike. Mike dropping mom, because then it sounds like your name's Mike. But yeah, that's what I'm not understanding. Why would law enforcement tell the coroner that prior to the autopsy. So back to their little tricks that they use, like the hazmat photo of the fireman. And not only that, real quick, that photo of the fireman and in the caption in the article, it says where if they're pulling the girls out, it pulls at heartstrings. It makes it emotional. It makes people throw all their logic out the window because they're just so upset at how, horrific that is, that these girls are being pulled out of oil tanks, allegedly. But another trick that they use is the same thing with Nate's footage of Chris loading the bodies. The narrative, the mainstream media, law enforcement tells us that that video footage is Chris loading the bodies of his family that he just murdered into his truck, right? And does it appear that way? Does it look like Chris is dragging a body? Is he walking backwards? Is he kind of hunched over? Sure. It does appear that way, but does that mean that he's really doing that? Do we actually see a physical body? And even then, I still wouldn't believe it. Okay? And I know that sounds crazy. But with technology and just tomfoolery stuff that people use, it would be easy to make it look like he was dragging a body. But they don't have to do that. That's the beauty of it for them. All they have to do is have the mainstream media do their job and beat the narrative into our heads, show a video. I mean, what's more believable than a video, right? Let's show the people what they want. So again, does it look like he's dragging a body? Yes. But do we actually physically see a body or bodies? No. I don't care how many shadows are in that video. That proves nothing to me. Zero. And I don't care what anyone says, you cannot see crap on that video footage. One, it's terrible quality. And two, you have a big truck in the way and a big tree or bush. You cannot see anything. Are you, this is what I ask people. I say, do you actually see Chris dragging a body and loading the bodies of his family into his truck? Or do you just believe that because that's what you're being told by the mainstream media and law enforcement? And be real with yourself. Is that what you really see, or is it just what you want to see, or that you were told is what you're seeing? Hear me? Really, what have they given us in this case, as far as evidence goes, to support anything that they're saying? And I know that my microphone is getting in and out. I don't know why. It's really annoying. So many people believe that if they see it on body cam footage that it's real, and it's really not. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many police scenes do we see on television? And they even add in timestamps now. That doesn't make it real. And just because I know that when people hear me say this, sometimes it's like, what do you mean it's not real? We see it. The law enforcement released it. It's real, Megan. You're crazy. I promise you, I'm not crazy. I'm really far from it. Well, when it comes to this case, I'm pretty crazy, actually. But anyway, I personally will question everything. It's so important these days to question everything, regardless of who it is that told you the information. And a lot of the stuff is, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to vet ourselves. But that's why you have to question it. Ask for answers. Ask for proof. And if someone's not willing to answer questions or provide that proof, who's claiming this information is factual, then to me, that gives you your answer right there. Hey, Vicky. And there are a lot of people, Baked Cake, that do believe that it was or could be a sacrifice. And I do have a reason as to why, or reasons as to why I don't believe it was. But I can't talk about it on here to talk about it on T Live. And I apologize again for my mic. I don't know what's going on. I could try unplugging it and using just the laptop speakers, but I can't promise that's going to be any better. Yeah, that's weird, Stephanie. About the stove. Are you messing with me, Sunflower? I feel like you're always messing with me because I just got done saying that my microphone is. I didn't say wanky, but I said that it's there's something wrong with it. Oh, you might have fallen asleep again. That's okay. Probably missed that part. I'm just kidding. Are you guys talking about pickle juice and pickles? You guys are funny. Here I am saying, don't believe everything you're told. People can be deceiving, things can be deceiving, and they use little trickeries, and you guys are talking about pickled eggs and pickles and pickle jars and pickle juice. Okay, is that better, hopefully? Probably not. But pickles are good, I do agree. And it didn't help. Okay, so I'm probably just going to have to end this live, but unfortunately. Because I know how annoying that can be. I will say before I end this that if you have been emotionally affected by this case in any way, shape, or form, it's going to be very, very difficult to be able to see everything that I'm, or I don't want to say like comprehend, because I don't that it's not about that, but it's just you have, it's very difficult to see facts when emotions are involved, um, or if have any bias towards anybody in the case, biased opinions. You're going to have that tunnel vision. You're going to, if you're focused on Nicole Kessler, then that's all you're going to see is Nicole Kessinger and why she's guilty, and that's going to make it very difficult again for you to be able to see what's really going on with this case, or potentially you might potentially miss evidence or some things with that tunnel vision, if that makes sense. And fortunately for me, it's not because I don't have feelings, or I don't have empathy or sadness or for murders. It's just that I'm not emotionally invested in this case, or I haven't been affected by it in that way. So that's why I'm able to see things from a different perspective. And not only that, but I have to go with consistency and patterns. And when I see the same characteristics and the same red flags over and over and over again from these same events, from these different events, that's going to give me a different perspective as well. That's good, Mike Droppin. That's good, because you can't, and I know it's difficult. You can't let emotions get in your way with these cases, because it will fog your judgment, 100%. Baked Cake, are you on? You're not on D Live yet? I'll put my link in the chat. It's a little different from YouTube. I think that's what you guys are talking about. But once you get used to it, it's really easy. And there's the link. Oh, you are? Okay. I don't know what you guys are talking about then. Sorry. Ignore me. Oh, okay, I see Mike Droppin asked that. It's not like Patreon. There's no charge, there's no fee, no membership. It's just another streaming platform that I use to discuss the case, because it's not as censored over there as of now, like YouTube is. So there's just certain things about my theory that I don't feel comfortable saying on here. So I have to, unfortunately, talk about those things on D-Live. For example, the behavior of both families and my theory as far as that goes, the sacrifice theory, and my opinion on that, I just don't feel comfortable talking about on YouTube. So, but there's no charge. No, it's free. Just takes a couple minutes to sign up. On D-Live, Baked Cake, they are 3 days. You have to have a certain amount of followers and to be able to have constant like replays, unfortunately. Okay, Mike, dropping. Cool. Just let me know if you do that it's you, so that I know. I mean, if you have a different name. Yeah, I know. 3 days. I know it sucks. I mean, I can download them, but I can't upload them to YouTube because that's the whole reason why I went to DLive. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a downfall of it. But again, the censorship is not as bad over there yet. Just a little recap for anybody that showed up late. That American Horror Story teaser that came on HTV, in my opinion, from what I found, is it was not a live show at that moment. Um, it would be impossible for it to be live because the way that the teasers are released, they're released on certain days, and there was no teaser released on that day. And that teaser was also not released on that day. It was released on August 6th, not August 13th. So that tells me that it was pre-recorded from the 6th minimum, which makes it even less coincidental or less of a sign or something on those lines. I do bake cake. What videos do I have up? My last lot stream is probably taken down already because it was probably 3 or 4 days ago. My Bundy one was pretty good. That one is probably still up. But I cover a lot of different stuff on there related to the Watts case and related to orchestrated events. So I highly encourage any of you who are not over there yet to take a couple minutes to sign up. And if you can't make the live, like I said, the replays are up for 3 days. And I've said before, I'm always on DLive, at least once a day, sometimes twice. Go into the chat and say if I'm in there or I catch it soon enough and you say, hey, Megan, can you do a watch stream? I don't mind doing it if I'm obviously not busy. I just don't get enough of you guys from YouTube over on DLive at the same time for me to schedule one or to start one and then not have anybody there. So, hey, Michelle. Yeah, but I think my Ted Bundy ones are still up. And then what did I play before that? There was a video I played before that. Oh, it was about the Slender Man. That's a creepy story. And yeah, Kyla, that's the thing is, there's been a few people that have said, but Megan, my name's been Lee. My name's my blah, 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 blah. My middle name is Lee, or my daughter's name is Lee. And the thing is, there's nothing wrong with your name whatsoever. It's not evil. It's the ones who are using it to represent it as evil, or the people that are using the name are evil. You know what I mean? Like, just like the number 13 is not evil, the number 33 is not evil. It's just, unfortunately, they are associated with evil people because they're just numbers. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't let that bother you. But the ones that orchestrate these cases and these events, they numbers and names and words are very sacred to them, and they use them to not only communicate with those in the know, but also use it as mockery and their little, predictive programming and Easter eggs that they put in plain sight for us. For instance, like the name Nicholas, the video I made about it, about the names in their game. If you look up the meaning of the name Nicholas, and we know how many Nicoles and Nicholas are in this case, there's a lot of them. Not as many as Lee, but thank you, Swamp Lover. I appreciate it. I knew there was a reason I keep you around. Just kidding. But if you look up the name Nicholas, it means to conquer the people, or victor over the people. Because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to conquer us, the public, a little bit at a time with these events. Hey, Fathead Politics. Good to see you. Right, Stephanie? It's not 100%. It's not proof at all. But that's what we were told. That's what the narrative says. I mean, why would the government lie to us, right? Why would the families lie to us? They're victims, right? So that means that they don't lie. That means that they're not bad people because they're victims. And they're just saints, right? That means they don't have an agenda or multiple agendas because they're victims, or because they're government, or because they're mainstream media. Just because someone tells you or whatever, it doesn't mean that it's true. It doesn't make it real. It doesn't make you a bad person for questioning it and asking questions at all. It makes you intelligent and open-minded and a critical thinker. That's the thing, Baked Cake, is that's one of their little tricks that they use. It's like, how convenient that the chemicals were flammable, so now the caskets are sealed. And that might sound crazy, but if you think about it, it's rather convenient. And there's a lot of coincidental and convenient things in this case. It won't let you on, Jetta. Hello, by the way. But and also, I mean, if you think about it, if anybody questions that about the graves, how is that going to make them look? They are going to immediately have their be called a POS, and how dare you even question the narrative? You're going to be called a conspiracy theorist, and they're going to be like, what do you mean that they're not there? What do you want to do? You want to see proof? Do you want to see the dead bodies? And they know that. They know that if anybody does question that, they're going to be attacked immediately. And conspiracy theory and conspiracy theorists is just a term that they use for people who actually ask questions to make them look like they're crazy and conspiracy theorists, and that they're whack jobs. Asking questions does not make you a conspiracy theorist. It makes you intelligent, in my opinion. Like I said, it would be nice to be able to believe everything that we're told. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Well, I also want world peace, but obviously that's not going to happen. But we can't, unfortunately, especially these days, it's unfortunate that we can't just believe what the mainstream media tells us or what our government tells us. Our government that is supposed to be there to protect us and have our best interests in mind, but that's not the case. And it's not just happening in the US. It's all over. Unfortunately, they have to orchestrate these events in order to trick us into giving up our rights. Because they can't just come out and say, hey, we're going to take this away. We're going to take your pew pew pews away. We're going to take your free speech away. You're not allowed to talk about true crime anymore or have your opinions about it. We only want mainstream media people talking about these events. So they have to use that Hegelian dialectic and trick us into begging for our rights to be taken away. It's fascinating and brilliant and infuriating all at the same time. That's good, Mike, Job, and Mom, because, that you encourage your kids to ask questions, because the minute we step foot in a classroom, we're already being conditioned. It's the dinosaurs were real, and that's it. You're not allowed to question if they are not. They were real. Earth is flat. You're not allowed to question whether, the Earth is flat. The Earth is round. You're not allowed to question whether it's flat or not. You read the textbook. This is what this is. This is what that is. It's no wonder that nobody, thinks for themselves anymore or asks questions or thinks critically. Hey, Sandy Beach. Good to see you. Are you talking, Kyla, about the Nova Scotia event? Okay, Mike, Job, and Mom. Awesome. Thank you for following me over there. Yeah, and Stephanie Michelle, that whole identifying the girls in Shanann over the phone is absolutely ridiculous. It's not real life. It's not real life. You don't identify a body over the phone by saying, like you said, is she beautiful and does she have dark black hair? Is she wearing a diaper or a pull-up? Then yes, that must be Cece. Yes, does all the evidence lead to that being who the bodies are? Yes, but it's just not real life. You can't. It's just crazy. And that's the thing, and it doesn't matter how many mistakes they make or how many of them are done on purpose. The majority of people will just believe it, no matter how ridiculous it seems. Yeah, Heather, yes, Sandy did it over the phone. It says in the discovery. But that's how they identified the bodies at Survey. You know how many women out there have black hair and are beautiful? And that might be possible, Bake Cake, but if you're looking at it from a investigative standpoint, you can't identify a body over the phone as far as family members go. That's insane. Because what if there was a chance that it might not have been them? Then what? Just because the girl's wearing a diaper or a pull-up does not mean that it's Celeste. But that's their little tricks that they use. And that's how they why do you think that there was so much evidence left at Survey 319? You think Chris is that dumb to leave a rake handle freaking sticking out close to the grave and a sheet and 2 plastic bags and a rake handle. No, it was staged that way to make sure that it fit the narrative, and this so that Sandy wouldn't have to identify them in person. Because all evidence points to Chris, and all evidence points that was the girl. Because Chris said that was the girls in the tank, so then he must be telling the truth, and that was an easy case. All right, let's go home, guys. No, it's not real life. They don't. You're not going to leave multiple items at a crime scene like that. 1, maybe 2, maybe, but multiple. Yeah, I know that pinky thing is pretty freaky, Swamp Lover. The whole, the whole items left at Survey 319 reminds me of another case or another event where there was a whole bunch of pew 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 items left around the hotel room, like it was staged to make sure that there was no question about who did that pew 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 thing from their hotel window, right? They don't want people going, well, how do we know that it was that person that pew pew pewed out of and I'm only laughing because the pew 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 thing out of their hotel room? How do we know it's who the mainstream media is claiming? Well, what about all the pew pew pews spread out through the hotel room? I mean, hello, who else would it be? That's why items at Survey 309 were kept there, and Chris left them there allegedly to make sure that there was that's to fit the narrative. Because if you have a confession and you have Sandy identifying the bodies, and if you have all those items left around Survey 309, then what is there to investigate? I mean, that was easy. They don't have to go out of their way to do an entire real investigation to convince the majority of people that it actually happened. They don't have to do that. And again, they can legally lie to us about whatever they want. They could say that Bigfoot committed the murders if they wanted to. And we can't get mad. We have no right. Why? Because there's a law that was passed in 2012 called the Smith Modernization Act of 2012, where it made it legal for the mainstream media and the U.S. government to legally push propaganda and lie to the public. Capri, leave Bigfoot alone. I know, I'm sorry. That's the first thing that came to my head. Sorry, Bigfoot. He is. You're right. He's just trying to live his life. And everybody keeps trying to go after him, taking pictures of him. Poor guy. They take those kind of answers. I don't, I mean, you can say actor because that's essentially what they're doing. Yes. Now, are they like a professional actor? Are they? I don't know. But more than likely, they are either associated through the military or have a military connection in some way. Your main characters, or they have some sort of connection to the FBI or the CIA, something along those lines. And you have to remember as well that a lot of these events are, especially the bigger ones and the more successful ones, are planned years in advance. So it's very possible that this has been planned since 2012 minimum. It could have been before that, because that's when the Watts moved to Colorado. And that's when your narrative starts. So look at it this way. How difficult would it be for a family like the Watts to simply be a family, right? Shanann record her drive videos, record the girls as much as possible. Be a family, right? But just make sure you record the entire thing and document it. That wouldn't be hard. You just be a regular family, right? Then this whole 1960-page discovery, how do we know that it wasn't already written and completed for the most of it, the most part? You know, obviously you're going to have to make adjustments. But as far as like the narrative, the storyline goes, it wouldn't be that difficult at all. And they had 3 months, right? All they would have to do is treat it like a normal investigation, interview some people. It's really not that far-fetched if you think about it. All you need is a few complicit people. Am I saying that word? Complicit? All you need is a few people willing and agree to doing this, and people agree to do a lot of immoral things they wouldn't normally do for money, for if they were threatened. Who knows? That, to me, that's not why they did it. That's important. Or why these people involved agreed to do it. What is important to me is exposing the deception. Because people do things for not that much money sometimes. I mean, people do crazy things that they would normally do. I don't, again, I don't know what they were promised. I don't know how they recruit these people. It's very, very likely that they could be legit families, but it wouldn't be that difficult to get to, especially if they're connected in some sort of way to the ones in control of the narrative and these events. It wouldn't be that difficult to get two families to agree to do that for, possible financial gain or whatever. But in my opinion, the majority of information that we've been told in this case is not true. So pretty much the whole entire narrative. So I'm not going to theorize about what happened at Nutgate. I'm not going to theorize about who Jim is. I'm not going to theorize about this or that, because in my opinion, it's based off of false information. We have been fed a story, and the world's a stage, and we all got front row seats to it. Like, if this were real life, speaking of Nicole Kessinger, in my opinion, if this were real life, Nicole Kessinger would have came out and gave her side of the story and defended herself, or even wrote a book maybe, or went on a talk show or two. The reason why she has not done that, in my opinion, is because that was her role. Her role was to become the most hated woman in America, and if not the world at that time, right? Be the mistress, and now, what is everybody trying to do? Everyone's trying to figure out whether she did something, whether she was involved, whether she knew about Nico, whether she knew that he was married. If she came out and she defended herself and told her side of the story, what would we have to go? We wouldn't have anything to do. We wouldn't have the discovery to bury our heads in and to go down these rabbit holes. Do you know what I mean? That would give us closure. They don't want us to have closure. They want us to rack our brains and come up with every theory in the book as to why Nicole Kessinger is guilty, or why Troy McCoy is guilty, or why Jimbo did it. They don't. That's why they didn't tell us whether or not they did or didn't interview Jim. That's why there's so much left out, because if they provided actual evidence to us, or they were transparent, fully transparent, what would we have to talk about? We wouldn't have anything to talk about the case, because it should be open and shut. With the amount of information they gave us, there's no reason why there should be so many unanswered questions in this case, but it's done that way on purpose. If they told us or gave us a motive as to why Chris might have done what he did, done what he did, they would have given us a motive. We would have some sort of closure. But now we're trying to figure out how it's possible that someone like Chris Watts, who nobody had anything bad to say about the guy, could commit such a horrendous act on his family. They don't want that. If they redacted the personal information of all of these individuals involved in this case, what would we have to look up? What would we have to search for? How would we even look up Jimbo and what school he went to and where he lived? Does he live in Colorado? Who is this guy? We wouldn't have anything to do with this case. We wouldn't be able to even look up, even though there's not that much information on her, we wouldn't be able to try to look up who Nicole Kessinger is and who her parents are and who is her dad a Freemason. Where does he work? What does he do? How much money does he make? Because it would be redacted like it's supposed to be. See what I'm saying? And then Troy McCoy. Who's Troy McCoy? Who's his wife? Who are the Lindstroms? Why do they hate Shanann? Why are they talking crap about Shanann? Who is McKenna Lindstrom? She was also a minor, and her name should have been redacted from the discovery, and it wasn't. Nicholas Atkinson's name should have been redacted from the discovery because he's a minor. Madison Atkinson's name should have been redacted from the discovery because they're all minors for their protection. In real life, they would have. We're not talking about real life. We're talking about a movie. We're talking about a story that we're being told to push multiple agendas. Why do you think that this case, nobody can, hardly anyone can step away from it? It just keeps drawing people in. And it doesn't help when you have creators who are pushing all these, in my opinion, not all of them, but a lot of ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous theories with nothing to back up those theories. The 35C thing with Lana, distraction to keep people focused on the case, to keep people interested. I said from day one that nothing will come from that 35C. It's just to give people false hope that something might happen. Again, to keep people interested in the case. But nothing ever comes from this breaking news or these theories. Just leads us back to, it's just in circles. Look at the way they handled the evidence in that body cam footage. Since when does a law enforcement share body cam footage? Sorry, I didn't mean to have you guys stare at that forever. When does law enforcement release, one, so much body cam footage, two, useless body cam footage that has no relevance to the investigation, in my opinion? Well, I mean, all information and all evidence is important, but they didn't give us that. They gave us evidence like Ronnie being transported to the hotel and Dieter being picked up from the house. That does not help me at all as far as figuring out what the heck happened in this case or why Chris did what he did. And everyone can rack their brains and they can discuss this case as long as they want to their little heart's desire. We will never get the answers to this case that we're looking for. Or, well, not me personally. But I'm trying to, wake people up to this deception so that you don't waste your time on these orchestrated events anymore, and focus on the ones that really do need your attention and your sympathy and your your time. Hey, Buttercup. But if and when you are able to see this case for what it really is, everything will make so much sense. It will be such it's weight lifted off your shoulders. It'll just be like, oh my gosh, it totally makes sense if you look at it from a different perspective. Hey, Dave. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a nice trip. I mean, Stephanie, I remember seeing you around from the beginning, in the chats in the true crime community. And you, from what I remember, you had a completely different outlook on this case than you do now, as far as I can tell. So I would be curious to know, as far as, seeing it differently now, your opinions on that. Because from what I remember, you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you believe the official narrative, right? Hey, Alexis. And if you didn't have, and not all creators, again, and I just have to say that every time because I don't want anyone to think that I'm not putting everyone in this category, but there are a few creators who I believe that have been here from the beginning, who are here to cause confusion, to distract, to throw some factual information in there, but with a whole lot of disinformation, to get people to in the opposite direction of the truth. So you have your controlled opposition, and to keep people focused on the case, and again, like I said, to cause confusion. So though those creators do not help. They only make it worse. Hey, Aids, good to see you, my love. Oh, good, Alexis. I'm glad. Yeah, DLive is it's a good community. It's smaller, of course, but a lot of the streamers we all support one another. We all, there's no competitiveness. There's no blocking this creator from being on, or this streamer from being on this streamer's channel. It's just a better community all around. Now I can't say that as far as the way DLive operates recently, because there seems to be some negative things happening as far as that goes. But for now, it's a good community. Hey, hope for peace. And of course, I would love to tell you guys that Nicole Kessinger is going to be arrested, and that she is going to be given a polygraph, and that she's going to be properly investigated like she should have been. Would I love to tell you that? Of course, I would love to tell you guys that. But if I told you that, I would be lying to you. Because it will never happen. And if it does, I will be the first person to come out and say I was wrong. Because with my luck, it would probably happen, just with my luck. But no, I have no problem admitting if I'm wrong about something, or correcting any misinformation that I may have put out there, or whatever. But again, I would love to tell you guys that. And I would love to tell you that I think that they're still investigating other people in this case, but they're not. The only reason why this case is still going strong is because of those certain creators that I talk about, who are either here, like I said earlier, to cause confusion. Their sole purpose is to distract from the truth, keep people interested in the case, or B, they know that the Watts case brings in money and views, or C, there are some creators who truly do want to find the truth about this case. So when you have all those mixtures of streamers, it causes chaos. And maybe that's why I don't know. Maybe that's why I don't have the large amount of views or subs that some of these other channels do, because I don't tell. And again, I'm not saying every channel. I have to say that every time, because I don't. There are several channels that I do have respect for still. So I don't want to them. If they're listening or anything, I don't want them to think that I'm just categorizing them into that same group. I'm not at all. I'm just saying that there are some who they tell their viewers what they want to hear. They tell them that that some of them are telling people that they're advocating for Shanann, or that they or whatever, and I'm not. It's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to tell you guys what you want to hear. So again, maybe that's why I don't get the views, but those don't matter to me. Yeah, there's an app for DLive, Hope for Peace. But you can also use your browser. But yeah, no, I would love for Kessinger to be investigated, but unfortunately she's just not. If they wanted to investigate her, they would have done it, and they didn't. And that's the crazy part, is they didn't even hide that they didn't properly investigate her, because they gave us the discovery. But it's done that way on purpose, in my opinion. They want us to get mad that she wasn't investigated. They want us to piss and moan and say, what the hell? I mean, she lied to law enforcement. What the hell is going on? That's why she disappears. And again, I do have my theories about the behavior from both families, but being that it's, you know, the whole victim thing and whatnot, and people get really offended by it. And it also goes into the whole community guideline thing. So I would rather keep it on DLive for that. So. Hey, Collins. And I know that a lot of people want to respect the family's wishes as far as talking about the case goes. But unfortunately, you know, to me, when it's a high profile case like this, and you know, your name's out there, your names are out there, that's just what comes with it, unfortunately. But not only that, I mean, it's okay. I'm gonna get myself in trouble here. I should probably just end this, but it's not anything I haven't mentioned before. I've mentioned it several times, my opinions on actually the Watts and the Rusak's behavior on social media. So it's not something that I haven't said before. But I mean, you're talking about going on Dr. Phil and that, you know, publicizing the deaths, and you stream the funeral live for the whole world to see. And then, I mean, and then you have the, I don't know, I guess audacity to come and tell people that they can't talk about the case. That's hypocritical and condescending to me, but that's just my opinion. And I get, and I understand, I do have sympathy for victims. I'm not a horrible, heartless person. But considering my perspective on this case, and from what I know about this case, I have a very different opinions about the victims in this case, unfortunately. But I'm not here, again, to sugarcoat. I'm not here. I can't, I unfortunately can't worry anymore about hurting others' feelings. That's the last thing I want to do, or to offend anybody. But it's going to get me nowhere doing that. And it's only going to waste my time, and it's only going to waste your time by doing that. And I think that there's still a way of being respectful at the same time. I think that's possible. At least I try. Hey, Ashley. And that's an interesting comment, actually, that you say that, because I feel like a victim as well. Because have we not been lied to? Are we also not victims in a sense? We've been deceived. So aren't we also victims? Don't we also have a say? And I've said this before, being a victim is unfortunately, it just makes you a victim. It doesn't make you a saint. It doesn't make you not a liar. It doesn't make you it just makes you a victim. You know what I mean? It'd be like, I don't know if this is a good example, but it'd be like saying, if for whatever reason, let's say Ted Bundy, right? Maybe he lost family members in some sort of to murder or something, right? And so he became a victim that way, and then he goes on to commit his murders, right? That'd be like saying, hey, Ted Bundy's a victim, so that, don't even go there, okay? Like, it's like giving him an excuse for committing the murders because he's a victim. I mean, hey, maybe that's not a good example, but hopefully you get my point. See what I'm saying? Like, being a victim does not keep you, give you any immunity to anything else. It just unfortunately makes you a victim. And just because you're a victim, it doesn't mean I'm going to believe everything that you say. I don't even know you. I don't know anything about you besides what law enforcement, the mainstream media, and yourself has told me. So why should I believe somebody or anything that someone says simply because they're a victim? That's crazy to me. Again, it doesn't make me a bad person. It means that I think for myself, regardless if that person's a victim or not. But that's not how society looks at it. Society says, don't talk bad about victims. Don't. It's not even talk bad about. It's don't question victims. Don't question any victim's morals. How dare you? How dare you question their behavior or their motives because they're a victim? That's the way society is now. So like I said, victim or not, I'm going to, or even hero, or even if they are coined a hero and there are inconsistencies in their statement or or stuff doesn't add up, I'm going to question it. I'm going to ask questions, and usually there's a logical explanation for things. But if I can't find it, then I'm going to continue asking questions as to why there's inconsistencies. Call me a bad person, call me heartless, it doesn't matter, because at least I, cheesy as it sounds, think for myself and ask questions. There's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with questioning stuff that doesn't add up or inconsistencies. And so don't let anybody say otherwise. Don't let anybody say that you're a shitty person for asking questions about something, or say you're a stupid, crazy conspiracy theorist. Well, I'd rather be a crazy conspiracy theorist and ask questions and be a critical thinker than just believe everything I'm told and live in a bubble for the rest of my life. So that being said, I'm going to go now. Thank you everyone for being here. Again, I stream a lot of stuff on DLive that is relevant to this case. I just streamed several ODD TV videos that where he talks about the Hegelian dialectic, the problem, reaction, solution, the symbolism that they put in plain sight in all of these events. I just played a one about Colorado that he did about get this, right? So before I go, on the Colorado seal, there's the dead center, the all-seeing eye pyramid. Go figure. Very Masonic of them. Underneath it is like a, like a prospector's like pick or shovel, and they're making a crisscross. On Coonrod's body cam footage, when he goes around to the side of the house and the rocks, there's the children's toys, like the sand toys, like the shovel, and I forgot, was it a rake or something maybe? I can't remember exactly. But it's in a crisscross shape. And it looks identical, almost identical to that on the seal, on the Colorado's state seal. Now, ODD TV said that it means something, and I can't remember exactly what he said, but I will find out. I will rewatch that video. It's only like, I don't know, 17 minutes long or something, but no coincidence there, especially if you know the meaning behind it. So again, thank you all for being here, and I really appreciate it, and just hearing me out and having an open mind without, immediately just discrediting me. So thanks again, and I will see you guys next time.